Films are finally coming out again, and once again Netflix is leading the industry by distributing some of the best films of the year so far. One of these films just came out last weekend, being The Trial of the Chicago 7, directed and written by Aaron Sorkin.
Open your eyes, 'cause a new day is dawning. The new day is dawning.
The entire cast is fantastic, and they didn't necessarily cast unknowns or small actors, but they're all actors that I really enjoy watching, and I think they're underrated and deserve more work. This is actually the first film I've seen Eddie Redmayne in, but he's kind of the main character, and he's pretty great. Sacha Baron Cohen is fantastic, especially as one of the more outlandish characters in a grounded film like this, and I really hope he starts to get some more serious work in the future. Jeremy Strong, Mark Rylance, John Carroll Lynch, and the entire rest of the main cast was incredible. One especially fantastic performance was by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He was the best part of Aquaman, and he was really good in Watchmen too. And after being in this, I really hope he starts to get a lot more work. Every scene he's in, he's acting circles around all the other actors who are already fantastic, so that just speaks to the skill that he's bringing to the table. Most of the main characters are incredibly well developed, with each having their own motivations, personalities, and conflicting ideologies. I do feel like John Carroll Lynch's character, David Dellinger, was a little underwritten though. I mean, he serves his purpose in the plot and he has a good personality, but I feel like his character was a little simpler compared to the other incredibly dynamic characters, as he was always just the one saying, "Oh, violence is not the way." There was an interesting backstory that was hinted at with a line or two in the film, but I would definitely recommend reading up on him after you watch it, because he's very interesting. It also could be just because I'm a massive John Carroll Lynch fan. Yeah, not a lot of people say that. But I think he deserves to do a lot more work, as he doesn't have major roles in stuff like Fargo, Zodiac, and The Founder, but he's fantastic working with what little he's given. He still puts on a really good performance with what he has, especially in the few scenes that highlight his character, but I just wish there was a little more meat to it. Hollywood, please give John Carroll Lynch some work. Another one of the film's strong suits is the writing. Obviously, a film written by Aaron Sorkin is going to have some of the best writing possible, and the writing of this film is just as good as some of his best work. The dialogue in this film is almost like listening to music. It's so quick and snappy, but it's not necessarily quippy. It's very smart and intelligent, but also fun to listen to. Due to the writing, the film moves at a breakneck pace, and it feels like you're flying through the film at every second. Information is constantly getting thrown at you, and while I had no problem following it, it feels like if you zone out for a minute, you'll probably miss a major plot point or two. I'm not saying anything negative about the pacing. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite qualities of the film. It just exemplifies how fast the film is moving. So I saw a review on Letterboxd that said Aaron Sorkin is way too good a writer to be forced to work with a mediocre director as Aaron Sorkin, and that pretty much perfectly sums up the only major problem with this film. While I never saw Molly's Game, I heard his directing was kind of dull in that film, and I can definitely see what they're talking about here. He's still new to directing, and this definitely wasn't bad, it was just serviceable. The main issues were the visual choices, as there wasn't much of anything interesting to look at, but the performances of the main cast kind of makes up for it. The film also hits a certain pet peeve of mine, and that's starting out with old news footage. The footage is interwoven with new scenes depicting the characters preparing to head to Chicago, and it kinda sets up the story for people who aren't familiar with America during the Vietnam era, but it's still just kinda lame. Also, this isn't really related to the review, but the film actually has a pretty interesting backstory. It was originally pitched to Aaron Sorkin by Steven Spielberg all the way back in 2007, but due to the writer's strike, it went into development hell. It went through a variety of different cast members and directors. Like, at times it starred Seth Rogen and Will Smith, it had Steven Spielberg on to direct at a point, and there were even talks of Ben Stiller directing it. Okay. The movie dodged 1,000 bullets like this, and is a lot better for it. In some other dimension, this film stars Seth Rogen, and one of the names that gets written down in the notebook is Kirk Lazarus.
What do you mean, you people?
In the end, The Trial of the Chicago 7 is another one of Aaron Sorkin's fantastically written and acted films, but it's still lacking a little bit in the directing department. It didn't take anything away from the film, but the film could have been better if it had a more cohesive creative vision. I hope Aaron Sorkin continues to improve at directing, but nearly every other aspect of the film was pretty great, and that's why I'm giving The Trial of the Chicago 7 an 8 out of 10.
How much is it worth to you? What's your price?
To call off the revolution? My life.
So I'm still working on that major project of mine. I finished all the research and note-taking and scripting, but I'm still in the recording and editing phase. I had to delay it a little bit because I've had a lot of stuff come up, like I got a new project that I was supposed to be working on for somebody else, got a new dog that I had to watch all the time, and I got sick at a point, so I had to delay it a little bit, but I'm hoping to have it out by the end of the year. It just depends. This is a pretty long project, so there's no telling how long it's going to take to create some of the assets and that kind of thing, but I hope to finish it fairly soon. But yeah, if you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more gaming and movie content, along with random reviews throughout the week. See ya!
This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network.